On today's show, happy 4th of July, happy 150th birthday to Canada, and a brief conversation with Austin Azar. Austin seems like a nice guy, but he is.
This is the world's toughest podcast. Welcome to the world's toughest podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's world's toughest mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the world's toughest podcast.
Happy birthday to Canada, happy Independence Day to America, and happy Tuesday to England. We have a short episode this week due to the holiday and due to the fact that I have a family and parade seats to reserve at 4:30 in the morning. That is a true story. Guys, when you're single, you can just show up at the parade or not go to the parade. But once you're married and you have kids, you have obligations, like reserving a spot at the parade 5.5 hours early. It wasn't in the vows, but it's part of the deal, so just a heads up. For the 4th of July at our house, Uncle Sam visits in the night and gives all the patriotic boys and girls presents. He brings a basket of bald eagle eggs filled with sweet, sweet freedom. It's not just the 4th of July, though. It's also the birthday week of our kilometric neighbors to the north. Happy 150th, Canada. You don't look a day over 93.206. This week, we're sending out our very first email update to the members of our winners list. It'll include info about the show and some episode plans for the summer, let you know what's coming up. Being on the winners list is also the only way to win a pair of the Merrill Agility Peak Flex trail running shoes that we give away each month. We've given away 4 or 5 pair now, and I have my own personal pair that I enjoy greatly. These are the shoes that I run Toughest Mudder in and that I'm going to run World's Toughest Mudder in this year. Also, we've got World's Toughest Podcast decals. You cannot buy these. You can only win them. If you want to see what they look like and for information on how to win one, shoot me an email at worldstoughestpodcast@gmail.com with subscribe in the subject line. In the body of the email, put 3 things: your name, your email address, and your cell phone number. If you are already on the winners list, you'll have an email from me in your box by the end of the week. Before we talk to Austin Azar, let's read an iTunes review. Exciting and innovative, 5 stars, by JM4292. Will Hicks is an excellent host. Other hosts should take notes. Thank you, JM4292. I am all about taking notes. There are a handful of other podcasts and regular radio shows that I listen to regularly and I borrow from liberally. Thank you for the kind words. If you'd like to leave a review for the show, go to iTunes and search for Tough Mudder. We're the first podcast that pops up. Click our logo and then click Ratings and Reviews. Click Write Review and tell us what you think of the show. It'll take you literally 20 seconds, unless you're still feeling the effects of your freedom party. On today's show, a chat with Austin Azar about Canada's toughest mudder. Let's go to the phones. Austin, congratulations on your 5th place finish at Canada's toughest mudder.
Hey, thanks, man.
You completed 40 miles in 7 hours and 53 minutes. Overall, what did you think of the race?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was pretty cold. The obstacles were, pretty standard for toughest. There were tons of fun. The course, the terrain was pretty wicked in some parts and then pretty cruisy. In the other parts, you could run it pretty easy. But overall, I thought it was an awesome course.
This is your 3rd toughest mudder and your 3rd top 5 finish. 4 women have done that, but Ryan Atkins is the only other man with that many top 5 finishes. What's your secret to consistently strong performances at toughest mudder?
Yeah, to have consistent performance, you just got to, be consistently healthy going into the event and then, just not taking too long in the pits and just pushing yourself pretty hard throughout the entire course. Atkins has been consistent, but he's also been consistently 10 miles, 5 miles farther than me, so that's super impressive by him.
What was it like to race toughest mudder in your home country, to hear your national anthem before the race?
Oh, it was awesome. I've never actually been to Whistler. That was the first time for me, so that area is just beautiful. It's cool, seeing a bear like right before the race. And just that terrain was really fun.
There was a little hype about the bears.
A little bit, yeah. Driving into the event, I saw one. I had a friend who like came pretty close, like face to face with one. But on the course, didn't see any. Not at night, but I thought maybe in the morning there might be some bear encounters, but didn't really hear anything.
At the beginning of the race, there was a course mix-up, and you and a group of runners had to double back and rerun part of the course. How did that affect you?
Yeah, I didn't go as far off as some of the other guys. I think like Ryan and Killian and Sean and all them went pretty far. I just like turned a corner and was jogging uphill, and I was having some stomach issues at the start of the race, so I wasn't really moving that fast. And then all of a sudden I see like Ryan and them barreling downhill and wondering what the hell just happened. But yeah, I probably went off maybe, I don't know, like half a mile or so. But it was this really muddy terrain that was really hard to run back to, so it was pretty exhausting.
Tough Mudder headquarters gave some of those guys an extra 12 minutes at the end of the race. Did they offer that to you also?
Yeah, I can't remember how much time they gave me. I think it was like 10 minutes or something like that, but wasn't able to use it anyway. I came in for my last lap, or I think it was like I would have had like 40 minutes left to do another lap, and it just wasn't going to happen.
You say you were having stomach issues at the beginning. How did the first couple hours go for you dealing with that?
Yeah, I mean, every toughest Mudder so far, I've had stomach issues at the start. I haven't been able to, quite figure out nutrition going into a race that starts at midnight. But it seems like a lot of people are having stomach issues too. And I guess like from a pacing standpoint, it's kind of a good thing because it forced me to slow down pretty slow. And then near the end of the race, like the last 4 hours, my legs felt great, and I was really able to push pretty hard.
Did you have the same issues at World's Toughest last year, or is it the midnight start that's causing the problem?
I did have some at World's Toughest, but it was not like right at the start of the race. It was kind of like 4 hours into it, roughly. I had like 2 pretty rough laps that my stomach was really hurting. But then for the rest of that race, I felt good stomach-wise.
How did you do in the middle of the night?
Good. My headlamp felt like a little bit dim, so when it got like the middle of the night, it was dark and I couldn't see on some of the trails that well. But overall, I love running at night, and that was a lot of fun. And the sun came up like really early. It seemed like it was bright, at like 4:35. So yeah, there wasn't too much night running on this course compared to the other ones.
We're talking about nutrition a little bit. What's your plan during the race as far as nutrition? What do you like to eat? What's your preferred?
Yeah, during the race, I had like these Cliff shot blocks. I had like electrolytes in water, and I was like chugging back water like that. But that might have been part of the reason why I was having stomach issues. I think I just had too much electrolytes in the water, and once I stopped drinking that, my stomach felt better almost instantly. So that could have been a bit of a nutrition mistake. And then I had a couple gels. I don't like to have too many gels because that can upset your stomach. I had like this little mixture of basmati rice and like nut butter and what else, like peanut butter or like jelly and some other stuff. To get a little bit of real food.
Just to have something real food, something solid to chew on? Yeah.
I think I had a bit of a Cliff Bar too.
Did you get cold at all?
A little bit. Like in the middle of the night, not too bad. Nothing like Philly. I got really, really cold in Philly for whatever reason. I just didn't have like any warm clothes on, really. I didn't have a wetsuit for that race, but I had a wetsuit for all of this one, and so I stayed pretty comfortable.
What did you think of the ski hill?
Oh, man. I was the very first person to go on that. I missed the cutoff by maybe like a second.
What time was that?
That was on my third last lap, so I guess I was going up from mile 25. I can't remember the exact time they opened it up. I think it was like close to 5-ish or 4:30. I can't remember. But I remember leaving the pit, and they said I had like 2 minutes to get there. And so I just started like really booking it, and then I get to the first obstacle, that ladder wall. And I was going over it, and then there's a girl right next to me that was like slipping off the rope, falling backwards. So I like went over and helped her up, and then we both get over, and they're like, "Okay, time to go to the hill." And so both of us like went over, climbed up first.
How did you approach it? Did you try and power walk it, or did you put your hands on your knees, or all fours?
When it got really steep, I bear crawled it, but basically just hiked the whole thing. it's just way too steep to run it. I can't remember what the incline was, but it was like over 30 degrees for sure.
Sometime between 6:30 and 7-ish, I saw you at stage 5 Klinger, and you went up it without even blinking. Were you pretty strong on the obstacles all night?
Felt really good on the obstacles. I didn't fail anything. I was having a lot of fun on all the obstacles this time, even though like at the start my stomach was a little bit upset. I was I hurt my ankle on Shawshank, the one where you it's the obstacle where you roll under barbed wire for a little bit and then you get to a pipe that you curl up and then you fall out into the water.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like a rope that hangs out the end of the tube that I guess you can use to lower yourself down, but I like to put my feet on the end of the tube and then jump out as far as I can. And apparently, I guess I didn't see, but my foot like kind of got caught in the rope. And so when I jumped out, it kind of like yanked me back. And then my ankle was pretty beat up for a while, and it's still kind of recovering now. I just like did my first run a couple of days ago.
Did that happen early in the race or late in the race?
That was pretty early. That was like between 3 and 4 hours into it. Yeah, I was limping for a little bit, but then I was running with my buddy, and he helped push me forward, and just like the race adrenaline kind of helped numb the pain.
Do you think that injury might have cost you a lap?
No, I don't think so. I think if anything, it would have been stomach issues at the start that would have cost me a lap. And then maybe being the very first person going up that ski hill, that probably cost like 10 minutes.
You finished in 5th between Matthew Hansen in 4th and Trevor Sykos in 6th. You were 4 seconds behind Matthew and less than a minute in front of Trevor. Tell me about that last lap in the race between you guys.
Yeah, so in that last lap, people have been telling me I was like pretty close to where Trevor was, like, a few minutes back. So I started pushing pretty hard, and then at stage 5 Klinger, there's a part where you can like coming into it when people are leaving, they come right by you. And I saw Trevor like right there, and he just kind of like literally stopped running and just stopped and like talked for a few seconds, and then realized that we're both still in a race. So then we both started running again. And then like maybe a mile after that, right around Operation, I caught up to him. That guy's so fast at Operation. He did it in like 3 seconds. It was insane. But after that, we ran for a little bit together, and then I said, like, okay, let's push each other here for like the last mile or two or whatever's left and see if we can catch 4th place. And I had no idea who was in 4th place at the time or how far ahead they were, but I felt like I had lots of energy still and wanted to push hard to try and catch them. And so around, where was it, Loch Ness Monster, like, in the last quarter mile or so, I saw this person start sprinting, and I didn't recognize who it was, and I didn't know, like, if they could have been on their like second lap for all I knew. But they just, I don't know if they saw me. Apparently they did, because it turned out it was Matt. And he was just like sprinting so hard, and I just started to chase him down. And I think I came like pretty close at the end, and then he surged like the little last flat part and beat me by 4 seconds. So it was a pretty awesome finish.
Yeah, tell me about the finish. 4 seconds is a pretty, especially for these 8-hour races, that's a pretty narrow gap. Yeah,
I wanted to make it like a sprint off, like to be within a second of each other, but he powered down that last downhill, and just couldn't close that gap. That would have been awesome, though.
I talked to Matthew last week, and he said this.
I know there's some animals who will run their prey to death, and I'm pretty sure that's what Austin Azar was trying to do to me.
Yeah, that last lap, I felt like I was kind of on the hunt, I guess. I had no idea where he was. I was just pushing as hard as I could, and turns out he was 4 seconds ahead by the end. So that was pretty awesome.
He said if you and he had to go another lap, he thought you would have caught and beaten him.
Maybe he was like kind of letting up because he didn't know how far back I was, and just saw me at the end and pushed hard. So yeah, I don't know how it would have played out if there's another lap, but I felt pretty good at that point.
You and Trevor Sykos famously finished 1st and 2nd at World's Toughest Mudder last year. He beat you by 5 miles. At Toughest Mudder Philly this year, he took 1st and you took 3rd. In Canada, you got 5th and he got 6th. It's not the top of the podium, but did it feel good to finally beat him?
Yeah, it did. I mean, we've had some awesome battles in the past, and I mean, when I was racing with him, I was always happy to see him do well. Like in Philly, he passed me like looking strong, and I thought maybe he can catch up to first place, and I was pumped that he did at the end. And passing him in Toughest Canada, he sounded like he had a little bit of an off day too. He was having stomach issues. When we stopped and talked to each other at Stage 5 playing, we were basically just talking about the stomach issues we were having. So it wasn't both of our best days, but still, it was fun to, have a little bit of a battle with him at the end. Like, I was pushing hard for that last mile, and he stayed right on my tail. So that was pretty cool.
Are you going to race Toughest Mudder Chicago?
I don't know. I might not be able to. I'm hoping I can get out there. I might have some obligations with school, so we'll see.
At World's Toughest Mudder this year, it looks like it might be the most stacked field ever in the men's individual category. What are your plans or what are your goals for World's Toughest Mudder this year?
Yeah, I'd say my goals are to go farther, faster than I did last year. I think I can do the 110 mark or greater, so that'll be my goal. And just have tons of fun out there on the obstacles. What
companies are you working with these days? Who are you sponsored by?
Working with Stoked Oats. They make just awesome oatmeal. I work with Spartan Team Canada, going around to a bunch of different Canadian races this year for Spartan. And then for these toughest races, we share a pit crew and with Go Tough. So a lot of us go to the events together and run together. And it's an awesome group of people. Love running with those guys.
Austin Azar, any last thoughts on Canada's Toughest Mudder?
It's a great course. Great seeing all the people out there running at night. Thanks to everyone there who's cheering me on. And, every word of encouragement really helped out there, especially in the middle of the night.
Special thanks to Austin Azar for appearing in this episode. Well done, Austin. Don't forget to shoot me an email if you'd like to win one of the first World's Toughest Podcast decals, and leave us a review on iTunes. I would appreciate it. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot, guys.